Looks good. Okay, good morning, and I want to thank everybody this morning for coming out to our Pennsylvania Promise for Children event here at the Capitol. It's an honor to be here, and it's just so refreshing to see so many families and legislators here, and I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be part of this event. And the focus of this event is on our most precious, our most priceless resource we have in Pennsylvania, which is our children. So thank you for coming out. My name is Kurt Kondrich. I am first and foremost a father, and I chair the Governor's Advisory Council for Early Intervention, and I have a 10-year-old daughter, Chloe, who was born in 2003 with a diagnosis of Down syndrome. And when Chloe was born, we faced a lot of worries and fears and anxiety. And it was through the early intervention, the early childhood education programs, which are, I would say, second to none here in Pennsylvania, that Chloe received that foundation that has given her an absolute bright future and just a light for her journey throughout life. And that foundation, when it was done, birth to 5, really just, it showcased her abilities. You know, not long ago, a child born with Down syndrome would have been labeled as uneducable or placed in an institution. And I'm happy to say, because of your support of early intervention, early childhood education, from the support from the policymakers who are here. My daughter's in 5th grade. She's in her neighborhood school. She reads at a 5th grade level. I was a police officer before I got into this field, and I kid most of the police I used to work with. She reads a lot better than some of the cops I work with. And she's doing amazing things. She advocates, and she lets people, like I said, focus on abilities and what children can do, and that's what these programs are all about. You know, 85% of brain development occurs in those first 5 years, and when we really harness that and work with these children and to educate them, amazing things can come out. And I like to look at early education, early childhood education as investment. It's not cost. Costs were when I locked criminals up as a police officer and put them away. This is investment that always yields a positive return and always makes a positive impact across our state. So, like I said, I want to thank you all for being here, and we have several people who have joined us today. And first, I'd like to introduce Senator Brown, who is from Lehigh County, and he is a co-chair of the Early Childhood Education Caucus, and I can say without a doubt he is a true champion for children, a champion for all children across Pennsylvania, and a person who really recognizes how critical it is to invest in our children at the earliest stages of life, so that investment will come back throughout the lifespan. So, Senator Brown, thank you. Thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, and good morning. On behalf of the Senate members of the Pennsylvania Early Education Caucus, along with Senator Fontana, I wanted to commend all those with us today who are committed to Pennsylvania's bright future and will stand up this month and every month for Pennsylvania's most precious resource, and that is our young and promising children. Today and over the years, many more Pennsylvania citizens have become part of an ever-growing, increasing, empowered coalition of engaged and interested parties, providers, community leaders, law enforcement officials, business leaders, teachers, and parents who have spoke out for what is necessary to provide a brighter future for our Pennsylvania children. They all understand what quality early education truly is. At its core, a powerful tool to knock down the barriers that stand in front of many of our children's skills and abilities to be successful in school and later in life. Later in life, as part of Pennsylvania's most valuable economic resource, our tremendous Pennsylvania workforce. These empowered Pennsylvania citizens have educated, advocated, and sometimes, when necessary, agitated to our legislators and our government officials, and today we can talk about a real success story. Where 15 years ago there was nothing even mentioned in our budgets which provided for early education, now we have prominently placed investments in Head Start and our own successful program, Pre-K Counts and Keystone Stars. We're in the face of the most significant financial downturn in our state's history, with red ink splattered all over our balance sheet. We are preserving, under the leadership of Governor Corbett, our commitment to investment in education of our young at-risk children. Now, with a commitment by sectors, both public and private, House and Senate, governors from Ridge to Schweikert to Rendell and now to Governor Corbett, investments in early education have become an established part of Pennsylvania's educational vision, a vision that will provide for a clearer, stronger path of success for our children and Pennsylvania as a whole. In these difficult fiscal times, it is paramount that we focus on initiatives which serve to advance Pennsylvania's prominent place in the greater global marketplace, which reinforce our economic potential, which maximizes our workforce's capabilities of ensuring skill attainment at the expense of social supports and corrections. Time and time again, investment in early education has proven to be one of those key initiatives, a platform for our great Commonwealth to stand proudly and competitively in tomorrow's global marketplace. Ladies and gentlemen, at the core of Pennsylvania's future strategic plan is the hearts and minds of all of Pennsylvania's young children. If we are to succeed now and in the future, we cannot afford to waste any talent, forgo any resource, sacrifice any potential, expense any promise. Collectively, we have realized the virtue of investing in all our young children as a means to ensure our state's future prosperity. Collectively, with citizens, business, and provider leadership, and the leadership of our recent governors, both past and present, parents, school officials, and the list goes on, we can stand here proud of the path that we have paved with confidence of an expanding commitment with stronger fiscal days ahead. This is our legacy today, a legacy we will carry for the benefit of all of Pennsylvania's families and their children, a legacy which will allow us to soon look through the eyes of every Pennsylvania child and see hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. You know, it's worth noting that in Pennsylvania here, we do have an early childhood education caucus within the Capitol here, and it's something I think it's unique to all 50 states to have this and have this commitment and focus, a bipartisan. We are very, very blessed in Pennsylvania to have these leaders who are focused on our kids and on the programs that support them and give them that foundation for success throughout life. So thank you again, Senator Brown. Next, I'd like to introduce Jessica Rierick and her family. They're from Bellefonte, and their daughter, Sophia, is enrolled in the Keystone Stars program. Jessica and her family would like to come up here and share a little bit of their story with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. My name is Jessica Rierick, and I have my daughter Sophia and my husband Perry along today. We come from Bellefonte, which is in Center County. A little bit of a drive this morning from, the Penn State area. So I'm a software engineer, and Perry is a professional photographer. We had been trying to have children for many years, and after 4 long years, we were blessed with Sophia. We were told that we would not be able to have children on our own, and it really was not an option. So we just feel that we have a true miracle here. Being a full-time parent and having to go back to work was not easy. So after 3 months of maternity leave, I had to go back to work, and Sophia had to be put into an early learning program. She attends a Growing in Faith daycare in Bellefonte, and they are part of the Keystone Stars program. They started that in 2001, and it was not easy, so it's taken them some steps, but they've worked up to the level 4 program. And they've been in level 4 for about 5 years now and have maintained that status. We feel that she's truly very happy there. The teachers, there's little turnover, so she feels that, she goes in there, she smiles, she knows who she's with, and is just happy to see them. She's in safe care. So me being at work, I know that she's safe, and that with all the craziness that goes on in the world today, she is safe, and we're okay with her being there. They have locks on the doors, and parents have key codes and key cards to get in, so we feel that's a huge advantage. She has lots of fun learning activities. She's finger painting. She comes home with paint on her toes and her clothes, and so we use lots of shout, but it's great for her and for her to get those, finger pinchers going and interaction with the kids and the teachers. her learning program has in-service days, and so during these days, they actually have their training events. Shortly, in a couple weeks here, they're going to be having a STEM event, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. So the teachers are going to be going and learning about math and how to coordinate this with our young children. Now, the learning program is also, I feel, has a lot to do with the parental involvement. So they keep us informed. We don't ship her off there every day and don't know what's going on. We have communication daily with the teachers, and they provide feedback with surveys, and we give them inputs as how they can better improve things. We're invited to summer carnivals and festivals and things like that. So it's very much a family-oriented, early learning program. So every week we feel like Sophia's learning something new, whether it's waving, it's patty cake. She just loves to bounce to music. Every day I walk in there to pick her up, and she's just bouncing and having a good time, and they're dancing. And the one week, in fact, we were playing ball on the floor, and she just opened her arms and caught the ball, and it was like, how does she know how to do this? And I had talked to one of the teachers, and she said, oh yeah, we were playing that the other day and learning to roll the ball back and forth, and this and that with the other kids as well. So I guess what really brought it to my attention was how well this program is doing for her is that, like I said, my husband's a professional photographer. He had a client over one day, and she said, wow, your daughter is amazing. Look at her just crawl up to my son and want to interact and play and wave and smile. And she said, I can tell she's very well cared for, and she has such great interaction. And then it rang a bell, and I was like, wow, she's doing great in this program that she's in, and it's really benefiting her. Of course, I think she's doing great, but I'm the mom. Everybody does think that, right? So that really made us feel confident in the decision that we've made for her. So in conclusion here, I mentioned STEM, and so I am a woman working in a very male-dominated career. I feel it's very important for Sophia to be educated in the science and technologies and just grow up learning those things so that she can be whatever she wants to be. We know that, life has many challenges, and it's not easy. And nobody can say where they've been to has been easy. So I'd like her to have the best advantage and the best early learning that prepares her for elementary education. And that's going to prepare for her to proceed in life and do whatever she wants to do.
Thank you very much, Jessica, for sharing that, and also for reemphasizing that our programs here in the state of Pennsylvania are about learning, early learning. Sometimes people say, oh, they just watching your kids. No, these are teachers, these are instructors who are working with our children at the most critical times of brain development. So thank you for sharing that. Next, I would like to introduce a good and an old friend of mine, Senator Wayne Fontana, who represents part of Allegheny in the city of Pittsburgh. And when I was still a city police officer after my daughter was born, Senator Fontana was actually the first legislator, those of you who know Chloe, she's met quite a few, that Chloe met. And she met Senator Fontana when she was going to a preschool, quality preschool program in the city of Pittsburgh, where her development really took off. And I know Senator Fontana as a friend, as a legislator. He's always been a true champion for children and for families across Pennsylvania. So, and when Chloe came up to the Capitol, did some advocacy, Senator Fontana actually sponsored a World Down Syndrome Day in the Pennsylvania Senate and had Chloe down on the floor. So I think that really showed where his heart is for our kids and for how he recognizes their true abilities and what a blessing they are to the community. So I'd like to turn this over to Senator Fontana and thank you for coming out today.
Thank you very much. Morning, everyone. It's certainly an honor to be here for this event, and You know, the brochure says it all, help young children reach their promise through quality early education, and certainly that's what this is all about. Thanks, Kurt, for inviting me today. I really appreciate it. Kurt and Chloe have been tireless advocates for Pennsylvania children, and certainly continue to do that, and it's really an honor to watch them be advocates for the cause. As we know, and I'm sure this brochure points out, that all our children deserve our support, and all our children deserve the best possible chance we can give them to succeed in life. I'm sure that's what that mother was talking about just a minute ago. And all our children deserve the opportunity to reach for the stars. And you know, we need to give them that. That's what we in Pennsylvania need to do, and we need to find a formula for success to do that. I think it's pretty simple. We have to see to it that all our children grow up in a safe, secure, and loving environment, and all our children have a quality education from the earliest ages and up. Just recently, I introduced legislation about kindergarten. Believe it or not, kindergarten isn't required in Pennsylvania, even though everyone has it. But I'm always concerned that it will be used as a bargaining chip, maybe in negotiations or budget issues, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to eliminate kindergarten in any district in Pennsylvania. So I introduced that legislation, and hopefully it will move through, and we can just keep building on preschools and quality early education for all our children. I also wanted to just briefly recognize, I have a couple certificates here, one for Kurt and one for Chloe. And certainly Kurt's dedication and commitment is unparalleled. I mean, I really admire him. And for Chloe, her leadership as a young person, from the moment I met them, and it was 2007, I had just been a senator a couple years, right from the moment, you know, Chloe captures you. You know, what a delightful and an awakening moment that was back in 2007. And Kurt's been good to send me the emails and keep me updated on things that are going on throughout Pennsylvania. So I just wanted to take a moment to, I have some certificates here for both of you, to recognize them, and you deserve to be recognized in every way you can be. So congratulations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Fontana. It's tough for me to accept things, but I'll accept this on behalf of Chloe, and I feel very blessed that I can be a voice for kids like her. I know, you know, if you had told me 6 years ago or 10 years ago when I was a police officer I'd be in the Capitol speaking about early education, I would have probably 302'd you. But to be here today, it is a true honor. And I just want to say, you know, as a police officer, I learned in my career, you either invest in kids early or you warehouse them later, and that's cost. And this is, like I said, what we're talking about today is investment that always yields a positive return. And it's just, like I said, I'd like to thank all of you. I wish I could give you all certificates for supporting these programs and for doing all you do to support our kids, because, you know, we couldn't be doing these things without your support up here at the Capitol. So thank you very much. Next, I'd like to introduce Clara Bowie. Am I pronouncing that correct? I got it. Okay, Clara and her family are from Easton. Her twins, Durrell and Kiana, are currently enrolled in Pennsylvania Pre-K Counts program, and Clara came here today. And I want to really thank these families for driving in today. Everybody can see how hard it is to get up in the morning, get your kids ready, get in a car, fight. There was a lot of traffic coming in today, and get in here and park and be part of this. I just want to really thank the families for coming out today, and I want to introduce Clara to share her story. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Clara Bowie, and this is my husband, Curtis Bowie, and this is our lovely family. We have, as you can see, 4-year-old twins and a 5-year-old big sister. We are very thankful to be here today to share our story. It has been an amazing experience having all 3 of our children experience the Pre-K Counts program in Easton. We have seen them grow, we have seen them develop, and now we have a kindergartner who we know is going to be very successful because of our hard work at home, but also because of the foundation that Pre-K Counts has provided for our children. And we are really thankful to see that our twins are also on that same path.
I think the success of the program really is shown on their faces when we pick them up from school. They can't stop talking about what they learned. They have all kinds of drawings, things to show us. They're really proud of what they're doing. And also they're eager to get up in the morning and go to school. We get up pretty early to get everybody going, but they're ready to go. And that really is a testament to the job that's being done at Pre-K Count. So we really want to thank the legislators for fighting for these programs. They're tremendously important, and we need them across the board. I mean, every parent wants their children to see their fullest potential, and we start that early. The first few years are so important. So we see a lot of value in the Pre-K Counts program, and we hope that other families can benefit from them too.
Mm-hmm. Another big thing about the pre-K program is that we were at first a little hesitant in thinking that our children as twins, that they would be okay being separated. But working with the program, they were together in the 3-year-old classroom and moved on to the 4-year-old classroom in separate classes. And both of them are so happy to be with their new friends, and they're so eager to learn, and they have such beautiful individual personalities that we have seen grow because they are not afraid to be by themselves. They are not afraid to go in and learn with their new set of friends. So we are proud parents, and we are proud to be a part of the program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your beautiful family with us today. And there's no substitute when we have these types of events for seeing the faces of the kids. It really makes the difference and makes the impact on what it is we do and who it is we serve. Next, I'd like to introduce the co-chair of the Early Childhood Education Caucus, Representative Phyllis Mundy. You know, when I first met Representative Mundy, I went into her office, and it was just so cool to walk down that hallway where her office is and see this big sign in there, Early Childhood Education Caucus, just like proudly flying there to show what she represents and what her focus is. And I've gotten to know Representative Mundy over the last few years. I dialogue with her frequently. I've met with her, and she once again is another person who's a true champion for our children and for our families, and knows how critical it is to invest early, knows what comes out of these early investments. So I'd like to introduce Representative Mundy and ask her to say a few words.
Thank you, Kurt, and thank you to all of you for being here this morning. I am so proud and honored to be a part of this group and a part of the advocacy for these children whose faces absolutely reflect the success of the programs that we in Pennsylvania have invested in, because every child in Pennsylvania deserves access to quality early learning opportunities. And while it is certainly in the best interest of every Commonwealth citizen, old, young, and in between, to help our children reach their promise, much of the responsibility for these programs and for the success of our children falls on us, state legislators like those present today. And I want to thank my colleagues, Madeline Dean, Margot Davidson, Joe Markosik, Senator Matt Smith, Mark Longetti, Rosita Youngblood, and many others who have come and gone because we have many conflicts this morning. But, oh, I'm sorry, Representative Thomas, Curtis Thomas. Even though issues like pension reform and transportation and liquor privatization have been taking center stage here in Harrisburg, I am here to say that there is nothing more important than preserving and growing these early learning opportunities for children everywhere in Pennsylvania. And our caucus, the Early Childhood Education Caucus, is devoted to that task. And we are the largest caucus in the legislature, bicameral, bipartisan. Senator Brown and I have co-chaired it for, 3 years now, I guess. And it's 125 members, which tells you something. We advocate during budget season. We advocate with the federal government to make sure that funding is adequate from their level as well. And we will not stop trying to fund and grow these opportunities because, as Kurt said, we either invest in these kids now or they're a drain on our economy later on. So it's a no-brainer for all of us. We know what's at stake. And for those Pennsylvanians who feel like, well, you know, I raised my kids and I sent my kids to school, so now I don't really want to pay for that anymore. Well, you had better hope that every single Pennsylvania child becomes a productive member of our society and is able to sustain not only the goods and services that you're enjoying, but your Social Security and your Medicare and all of the programs that we fund through our state budget. We have to have a strong economic base and a healthy workforce to sustain all of that. So please join us as we advocate every single budget season and continue to advocate with the federal government for more funding for early childhood education programs that are clearly working, and you can see it on the faces of these kids here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative Mundy. It's just so refreshing to see so many policymakers here today and focused on this issue of early childhood education. And, you know, I take Chloe, we've met with on the state level and federal level, and I've gone into people's offices and they said, you know, Kurt, things are really tight right now. You know, the money's tight. And I said, you know, that's why I'm here, because I have the guaranteed investment for you. You know, I have something where if you put your money, the money that's tight, into something, into this program, I can guarantee you, I can show you the evidence that it's going to yield a positive return. So since your money's tight, you actually should be putting more money in these programs, because it's one of those things that's going to really yield a positive return. So just thank you again for your commitment. The last family I have to introduce are the Lee family. Cecilia, Jacob, and their awesome kids are here today. And I've gotten to know the Lees. Cecilia co-chairs the state ICC with me. And every time when I'm having a meeting, I'm always trying to get families to join me on my advocacy journeys. And Cecilia and Jacob and Isabel and Alex have really latched on. Alex is actually one of Chloe's boyfriends, and they've accompanied me. And what's really neat, Alex is, you know, he was born with Down syndrome, and he speaks fluent English and speaks fluent Korean. So there's not many 5-year-olds that can say that, and they're just an amazing family, and we are blessed here in the state of Pennsylvania to have them as residents and to have them as advocates on behalf of our most precious resource. So I'd like to introduce Cecilia and Jacob and their family.
Good morning. My name is Cecilia Lee, and this is my family, my husband Jacob, Isabel, and this is my son Alex, who doesn't want to show his face today. But so he's the boy that we're so proud of. We're proud of her too, but it's all about him today. So, and he's the boy who's been teaching us so many things, and he's also the boy who has been giving such an endless source of inspiration to so many people around us. But it wasn't always like that. When we had Alex, the first thing that we learned about him was that he had Down syndrome. And we felt devastated. And we felt as if all our hopes and the dreams that we had for our son just disappear in front of our eyes. Then we were introduced to early intervention, and right away, people started coming over to our house to work with Alex and us. And Alex started physical therapy when he was barely 3 months old to strengthen his muscles. And then he started occupational therapy to strengthen his fine motor skills, and also a speech therapist coming over to work on communication skills, and a special instructor coming over to work on different learning methods. But early intervention is not just about what the therapists work on with a child, but it's more about what they bring for the whole family. So it is about educating the families, it is about empowering the families, and it is about providing the right resources to the families when they're in the first 5 years of a child's life, when it's, just like Kurt said, it's the most critical period in a child's life, because that's when the brain development, most of it, takes place. So when Alex turned 3 and started preschool, all the services started happening at his preschool. So all his therapists went to his preschool to be there to make sure that they're available to consult with the teachers when they needed help, and also to work with Alex and to discover the most effective learning strategies for Alex to make the inclusion more successful and to get him ready for kindergarten. And they did such a great job. When Alex went in to do his kindergarten assessment, he actually scored higher than a lot of the other kids who did not have disabilities. So he is now 6 years old, and he attends kindergarten at our neighborhood high school or neighborhood elementary school where Isabel's attending. He's fully included, and he is learning with his friends, and he's also reading to his class and just having lots of fun. And he's currently taking some piano lessons, and we're thinking about starting some singing lessons for him because he loves to sing, and why not? You know? So, and our therapists from early intervention have really taught us really well on how to keep our expectations just skyrocketing for Alex, just the way that we have for Isabel. And they really trained us to just focus on his amazing abilities rather than disability. So they taught us really well that we were able to come up with ways. When we learned that he was a very strong visual learner, we stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning one night, and we made all these flashcards, personalized sight words for him, and we were just practicing with the flashcards. And before you know it, he was signing the words that he read. And this was before he was even speaking, and he was, I think, barely 2. So, I mean, talk about just having high expectations. And then he now reads at, I would say, about 1st grade or maybe even 2nd grade in English, but not only in English, but he reads at the same level in Korean. And and when we went to Cancun a couple years ago, he picked up Spanish just right away, and he was greeting everybody in perfect Spanish. And they loved him, of course. And he can sing Happy Birthday in 3 different languages, English, Korean, and also Chinese, because he attends a Chinese camp every summer to learn the Chinese language and also to make really good dumplings. And because of his good looks, if you can see him, he had his first paying job at the age of 2, modeling for Toys R Us. And so, there's mommy's retirement right there. And then since then, he's done a little more work with Toys R Us, and he has also appeared on the big screen in Times Square a few times, and he's also appeared on TV on Sprout. So it's not pretty bad for a 6-year-old, especially, somebody who has Down syndrome. So, and I just want to say, without early intervention, none of this would have been ever possible. And I'd like to sincerely thank everybody for giving opportunities to the children with disabilities and their families, just like Alex and us. And your support not only guarantees a productive life, but a very successful life for our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you much, Cecilia, for sharing your amazing family. And Chloe and Alex were at the U.S. Capitol 2 months ago. They met with 8 different Congress people from across the country, Eleanor Holmes Norton from Washington, D.C., several members of and it was amazing how they took over their office. And here's people that really barely have 5 minutes for you. They spend a minimum of 30 minutes with us. They were actually sending out for cookies and milk with the kids. And these were legislators from states that don't even represent our children, but they were so amazed by their abilities and the things that they were doing, and it was really something just to see them working up at the U.S. Capitol. So thank you again for coming out today. Before I have my closing remarks, I know we're blessed to have several legislators here from Pennsylvania General Assembly. I'd like to give them an opportunity. I know a few of them have asked me if they'd like to just make a few remarks, and we would be honored if you would. And like I said, we really thank you. I see how busy it is in the Capitol today for taking time out to be part of this press event. So thank you, Representative, for coming out today.
Good morning. Representative W. Curtis Thomas from Philadelphia County. Let me thank you. I'm excited to see these families and to hear the victories in their lives. They represent a testimony to how important it is to invest in early education. And it's uniquely that we're having this today because right now, the district attorney from Philadelphia County, along with a number of other district attorneys from southeastern Pennsylvania and from members of the law enforcement community, other attorneys. They are protesting right now in front of State Correctional SCI Chester. And they are standing to drive home the message that it's important to invest in these kids early. They make the point that $100 invested in early education saves $700 in prison costs. There's a proposal on the table now to put about 10 million over a number of years in early education. According to them, 10 million would bring about over 2 million additional high school graduates, 363,000 successful high school graduates right here in Pennsylvania. And I've always maintained, and I just happened to be, my first professional job was a lead teacher in the Get Set program, which later became comprehensive daycare. And so I had a beautiful experience as a teacher in Get Set. And then when I took office, I had my twin boys. They were 10 years old, 25 years ago. Mom died a few years later. So, and one of my twins has special needs. So we have had some unique challenges in dealing with his particular needs. And these families know how important it is to have early intervention, to have support, and to have love. And so I've kind of lived through that, and I can stand here today and say that if we invest in these children today, they will invest in the world tomorrow, because they will become the leaders that we need them to be, and that will become some of our doctors, will become some of our legislators, and could possibly run in the Pennsylvania Partnership for Children, because these young people can become whatever they need to be if we invest in them early. And so I thank you, Kurt. I thank my colleagues, especially from the House, Representative Davison, Youngblood, and other members of the House. We are standing with Representative Mundy and the caucus and saying yes, yes to investing in kids early so that we can assure their life tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other representative? Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank you so much, Representative Margot Davidson. I just want to thank Chairman Mundy for her leadership on this issue in the House. And, you know, as the chairman of the Finance Committee, she's very tenacious about finances of the Commonwealth, but she always, always, always talks about the importance of investing in early childhood education. And I am just so happy and pleased to join this press conference here today because I know how vitally important it is to invest in children early. I'm a big proponent of quality education, and this program demonstrates high quality education and gives children the best hope to be able to be successful as they move through their educational process. As a nonprofit founder and as a nonprofit professional in my former career, I had the opportunity and the privilege of overseeing daycare centers all across Philadelphia, and also raising money for those daycare centers. And I saw firsthand the importance of early childhood investment. Our nonprofit had hundreds of programs. It's the largest nonprofit in Philadelphia. But I always made sure that I especially raised funds for the early childhood and daycare centers in our nonprofit organization, because as you can see from the testimony of these families, it is the single most important factor in a successful life in this Commonwealth, and we cannot continue to divest from it. We have to increase our investments, and I'm here to fight for that along with the rest of my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Representative Markosik, I just ran into Representative Markosik this past week. It was at a grand opening of a facility to treat children who are medically fragile, and he got to hang out with Chloe a while, and I invited him today, and I thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Kurt. Just an aside, way back in 1988, which is 25 years ago, if I do my math in my head correctly, one of my good friends in a neighboring legislative district by the name of Ted Condrich decided to run for the legislature. And he ran and he won, and he came down here and we were colleagues for one term. And due to the vagaries of politics, Ted was defeated after one term, but we remained friends, and to this day we still are very good friends. And he now, because of the change in legislative districts, actually lives in my district. But I remember he came to me not too long after that and said, hey, my son, one of my children, wants to be a police officer, and can you write him a letter of recommendation? I wrote that letter of recommendation for Kurt Condrich way back when. I think he was single, and at that time I think it was to be a police officer in the city of Atlanta. And then he later came to the city of Pittsburgh, started a family, and the rest is history. And it just kind of goes to show you how sometimes we don't always have control of where we are going or where we will end up. And I think that's why, as a segue, that what we're doing here today and what you're as parents and families and what we as legislators are doing today are so important for the young people of our Commonwealth here, so that we can help them decide and help them be steered in an area to a success that perhaps we're not even thinking about now. And maybe there's things that they will be involved in that haven't even been invented yet. But yet we need to give them the foundation to do that. And that is why early childhood education is so vastly important for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I want to thank you all for coming, thank the families for taking the time. And Kurt, I look forward to seeing you again in your new career, as your career that you have now. And hopefully, perhaps, if you need another letter of recommendation for anything, please come and see me. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I was so happy and so pleased when Representative Mundy and Senator Brown started the Early Education Caucus. I've had a lot of personal experience in being not only a parent but a grandparent. My youngest son I received when he was 2 days old, and he was born as a child with drug and cocaine and alcohol in his system. I brought him home from the hospital, and they told me it would require a lot of care. 6 months later, I was elected to the House of Representatives. I had to find care, take him for all his developmental needs, but by the time he started first grade, he was accepted because of going through early education, Penn Charter, Germantown Friends, Episcopal, all the wonderful schools that we have in private schools in the city of Philadelphia. And I chose Penn Charter because he thought that would be ideal. In bringing you up to date, I am currently raising my 6-year-old identical twin grandsons. So I understand about getting up very early in the morning to get children ready. I received them when they were 10 months old. and I understand the importance of daycare and providing early education. They are very happy, and when I would pick them up from daycare, and because of the situation they were in when I received them, I found out that the foster care mother, because I didn't even know they exist, nor did my son, did not involve them in anything, which meant that I had to go through ChildLink and some other organizations to give them physical therapy to improve their motor skills, take time out in helping to teach them with their vocabulary. Today, when I do bring them to the house, they're very outspoken, and they're two wonderful, bright kids, and I love them to death.
Would any other representatives? Okay. Once again, I want to really thank you all for being part of this event today. It's just something. I just hope the momentum continues to build as we move forward. And I want to invite you all to go up to the Capitol Rotunda. There are poster boards up there with faces of our kids and just showing what they want to be when they get older. And I want to make a special thanks to Kelly Swanson, who set this event up. And she called me last week and she said, Kurt, what does Chloe want to be when she grows up? Because I'm going to put this on the boards up there. Well, if you stop up, you'll see when Chloe grows up, she wants to be the governor. So anyway, for recognizing the ability of our kids and for knowing that investing early has been so clearly stated here, you know, you invest now or you pay a ton later. Like I said, this is the absolute guaranteed investment. I would not have I love being a police officer. I would not have changed my careers and got into this field if I didn't know firsthand from my own family and from the countless families I work with how important these programs are, what the difference they make. I'm making a better impact right now in my community and also on law enforcement, on all things within the community by working in this field. It really does make that much of a priceless difference. So I thank you all for being here today. I just wish you the very best. I thank the legislators for taking time out of their busy schedule to be part of this event. And, you know, God bless you, and I wish you the very best. So thank you.